Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Data on Inside the Birds. I'm Geoff Mosher, and we bring in our analytics man, Sam the Man Finkel. What's going on, Sam? There's nothing like going into a game and taking a deep analytical dive into a game where one team took the first three quarters off. So I'm sure that didn't skew the numbers at all, but the Eagles did come out and win 33-26 in probably one of the more wilder games you'll ever see.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the numbers were, what the numbers were.
I can imagine. I mean, they won the game, to be honest with you, because they blocked two field goals, one right at the as time expired. And I'm not quite sure what kind of analytical data you get for that. I mean, when we go through offense and defense, it's going to probably look like they dominated. The Rams dominated the Eagles in certain areas, but obviously a championship team makes the championship plays to come through. And that's what the Eagles did. So looking forward to getting into the numbers and the data, and maybe we can all even forecast a little bit what that might mean for Sunday's game in Tampa, which is going to be a hot one, my friend. 97 degrees is the expected temperature. Now, here's a good one. Here's a great question for you, going off the rails a little bit, because you coached at Penn State, so you've been on the sidelines. I've never understood why there's a difference between the actual temperature and the field temperature. Is there something about grass or turf in particular, or the way a stadium is built, that it's hotter on the field than the actual surrounding?
So, I mean, I'm not going to go into the science of it because, quite frankly, I don't know the science.
Come on, put that Penn State education to work.
No doubt. I do know that it feels very different on the field than it does in the stands. And what they do is they try to control that temperature. So like whether it's a really hot game, which to be honest with you, at Penn State, we didn't really have too many hot games.
True.
Or a cold game. Like we do a lot of climate control. Like we have we had heaters everywhere for like the winter games, and I'm sure they have fans everywhere for the really, really warm games. I think we did have fans for like the earlier games at Penn State. But yeah, I mean that's what they say. I can say from a personal experience it's true. I don't know if I can say from a scientific lens at all, or
Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody ever explained why the case was, especially to coaching staff, why you see it on TV all the time. They say, the temperature is, even last year in Tampa, it was in the mid to upper 90s, but they kept saying the field temperature was over 100 degrees, and you saw it, man. I mean, people were wearing out in that game.
I mean, from turf, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Right.
Like, it'll absorb the heat a little bit more, but grass, I'm not 100% sure the reason. I know heat rises, and that's like a basic thing, so you'd think it would be warmer but I don't know. That's a fun one. If anybody knows the answer to that, feel free to, comment away.
Yeah. Plus, I thought of maybe like the magnifying glass at impact, where you're in a stadium, there's no trees, there's nothing blocking. It's a direct hit from the rays down to
that makes sense.
Surface. So anyway, that's what the Eagles will have to deal with on Sunday. And of course, we'll break that down next week. But we are going to go inside the analytics here on the Eagles' thrilling win against the LA Rams. And the Rams are now 2-1. The Eagles remain undefeated at 3-0. So let's take a look, Sam. As we always do, we start off a little bit of the basic stuff, and then we get into the real advanced analytics. So of the basic numbers, as I have it here on the screen, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, what really stands out is the time of possession it's pretty close, but the Eagles won. And again, as we've discussed, seems to be their brand of football.
Yep.
One thing I'm like now realizing I probably should have grabbed for this, because I think it would be interesting, was the average starting field position.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Rams, because at Penn State, that was one of like the things we talked about. Like one of the keys to winning was also, flipping the field and making sure that you win in the average starting field position. And I can guarantee you the Eagles did not win on that. They were backed up and in bad positions, like average starting field position.
Yeah, I mean, it started off great when they picked off Matthew Stafford and had like a half a field, not even had a quarter of a field to go with, and then from there, because of the knuckleball kickoffs really gave it an issue for the kick returners, as we all saw.
No doubt. Is there anything that stood out to you in these stats? I mean, Rams win most of everything, and Eagles tie in some stuff. So
Yeah, I was actually surprised that the Eagles won time of possession only because the Rams are and were in this game a ball control offense. The Rams ran the ball really well for at least 3 quarters. And it seemed like when the Eagles did score, like, for example, take the Eagles' second touchdown, which is sort of they're down 26-7. That came I think it came in 2 plays. It came basically on a 28-yard pass to AJ Brown, followed by a 33-yard pass to Dallas Goedert. So that was 2 explosives in a row, and bam. Now I know the next 2 drives they did a much better. Well, not better. I mean, the next 2 drives they were more deliberate with their offense. But I would have thought the Rams, like if you just watch the game, it felt like the Rams had the ball longer than the Eagles did.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel that way. But it just goes to show you that like that is a big emphasis of this Eagles team is that time of possession.
Right. Yards per pass, that doesn't surprise me because the Eagles did finally get there. I'm sure through 3 quarters that number was not anywhere near 5.6 and matching the Rams, but obviously it's heavily skewed by the last part. The yards per rush doesn't surprise me, but it might surprise people to realize that the Rams average over 5 yards per rush. But I actually did. Anybody who watched the game could tell the Eagles did not play good run defense until the 4th quarter. And then I went through every single Kyron Williams and Blake Corum run for a story I did on Philly Voice, and to look at the breakdowns. And when you watch them, you could see. I mean, the Eagles did not play good run defense, especially the 2 guys in the middle, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, until it mattered in the 4th quarter when they had some nice stops. But for 3 quarters, they were moved off the ball constantly. They were out of gaps, and Williams and Corum are both really good, Sam, at like kind of getting skinny through those holes and wiggling out of some things. So it just wasn't great run defense for the Eagles.
No, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. So that's a basic look. Now we get into the really, really juicy stuff that you're going to have to go into, explain a lot of this to us. The advanced stats. So remind us here. We have, for those who are watching at home, you've got the green column. Well, you have 3 columns here. It's what the Eagles' season average is. It's what they did in week 3 and what the Rams did against the Eagles in week 3. And then you color code things. So if the Eagles were better in any of the categories, they get a green. If they were worse, they get a red. What's the in-between beigeish taupe?
Yeah. So this analysis really should be done, and we will explain it in 2 separate increments, right? So it should be the Eagles season versus the Eagles performance, and then it should be the Eagles performance versus their opponent's performance.
Right.
So the way that's distinguished is that darker green is their season compared to the week, and then the lighter beige is if they did better than their opponent. That's the comparison.
Gotcha.
And where you see, the darker green in the middle, it just means that it was the best out of it. It only happened in the EPA per pass. So.
Right. So the Eagles had a better EPA per pass than the Rams in week 3 because they were at 0, and the Rams were at a minus number, right?
Well, that's EPA per play. Yeah.
Per play. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why. But in general, the Eagles did not exceed or match their EPA per play for what the season is. So they were below their season average, but still better than the Rams.
And they brought their season average down. So,
because I would think so. So when you have a 0.00 EPA per play, it means that you had the same number of plays that did not result positively toward a score as you did have.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. Interesting. It kind of makes sense. I mean, again, you get like first 3 quarters of just a completely dormant offense, and then you have explosives left and right for the last, 18 minutes of the game.
Absolutely. So that's why the numbers are very wonky in this one. And honestly, this is a game that's a perfect example of why you don't just look at one game.
Mm-hmm.
Because this game had so many outliers in it that you really need the rest of the season to like determine what this team is.
Right. So I think I'm surprised by the EPA per pass and per rush. You've got, and according to Next Gen Stats, so the Eagles' EPA per pass against the Rams was minus 0.02, which is that's actually better than their season average, right? Of minus 0.08. Okay, but Is it lower or back? Now the negatives are getting to me. Did the Rams do better or worse here? They were worse, right?
They were worse, yeah.
That surprises me because I just, the Rams seem to move the ball more fluidly through. I know Stafford missed a ton of passes, but that just surprised me a little.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like an adjusted based on where you are in the field, what's expected.
Right.
It's really formulaic the way it's kind of derived, but essentially the Eagles it's putting yourself in a position to score, and the Eagles by passing kind of took a little bit away from their ability to score. The Rams did a worse job at moving the ball through the passing, at least in the advanced analytics.
Right. And you would say the same about running the ball?
Yeah.
See, I don't get that because Saquon Barkley had very few rushing lanes, and Kyron Williams and Blake Corum had a bunch of really not just good runs, but they were impactful runs to scoring drives.
Sure, and those all weigh in, but there are a bunch of factors that go into it, and
Okay.
It's not just about good runs. It's about can you keep them on schedule? Is it an ability to put them in a position to score? Like what's expected at that yard line? What's expected, on that field position? It's a pretty complicated analysis that we honestly maybe one day we'll just go through each play and see like what the EPA would be.
Yeah.
On a
that
play.
would be a really good idea. Like I get like maybe if you have a run that's 2 yards and it's 3rd and 3, then that's not a good right. That would not be considered a plus EPA on that rush. But I would love I just having gone through every single Rams run, it seems like they did they got the requisite number of yards they would need on most runs, if not more.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like for example, if it's 3rd and 10 and you get 9 yards, it would be a negative EPA.
Oh, because it's third. Yeah, because it's 3rd and 10. That makes sense. Yeah, but I felt like the Rams were constantly ahead of the chains. That's why
they did a very good job of it. But for whatever reason, that's what came down. So
okay, the TTTs and the TTPs. Time to throw, time to pressure,
and then my NTBP.
Yes, yeah, the category you created. So what did you determine from all that? Because the Eagles were pretty close to their seasonal averages on that.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that Hurts had to get the ball out a little quicker because the pressure was it got there a little faster.
Yeah.
And I think that it tells a pretty good job because that's what happened. But what's interesting is that it was almost the same for the Rams, right? I mean, their time to pressure was significantly faster, but so was Stafford's time to throw. So it was sped up a little bit by the pressure, but also because Stafford releases the ball faster than Hurts.
Right. Now, the quarterback pressure, to your point, I mean, man, 48 points. Hurts was pressured on nearly half of his dropbacks because the Rams sent a lot. The Rams came into the game, Sam, had the third lowest blitz percentage in the NFL, something like 12%. And they blitzed him at a rate like I think over 35%.
Yeah.
So you can tell that teams are doing things differently. They're coming out of their comfort zone. They're getting out of character to try to do things to stop the Eagles offense.
100%. And you're right. You totally can see that. And it was pretty effective in the first half, right? I mean, the Eagles had to make some serious adjustments in order to, put themselves in a position to even win the game.
Right. And then, of course, the sack percentage way higher than the season total. He took 4 sacks. Jalen Hurts on only, I think, what do you have? Like, how many dropbacks did he have? If I remember correctly, it was 32. So, that's going to make that percentage be higher than it's normally, which is around 8.3, which is still kind of high. But we've talked about that. Hurts always had, for the last few years, Hurts has had a high sack percentage because he holds onto the ball, but he doesn't usually fumble the ball. He did this game, but ordinarily he does not.
Correct.
Right. Average separation here. So this is wide receivers and tight ends and how well they separate.
How well they separate upon targets. I think it's a really important distinction that they only track it when they're targeted. So I think it's like it kind of shows more than just the receiver. It shows like where the quarterback is putting, like what kind of windows the quarterback is putting in.
Right.
And so on both sides, they had to throw in tight windows. I mean, I think you saw that on both sides of the ball, 100%.
Sure. Like if you think about the 2 biggest A.J. Brown catches, the first one where he went for 28 yards, that's set up the Goddard touchdown, and then the third down one where he kind of muscled his way to the first, which was beautiful, beautiful throw, beautiful catch, beautiful everything. It's not like there was a whole lot of separation. In fact, in the 28-yarder, he basically had to. It was great coverage. He had to one-hand that.
Right.
And then in the red zone touchdowns, there were pretty tight coverage there. And then Nakua, and I think the only two catches I can think of where you had big separation was the Devontae Adams touchdown against Reed Blankenship and the Dallas Goedert touchdown against the inverted Tampa 2 look.
Yep. 100% agreed. Everything else was pretty tight and tightly contested.
Yeah.
Which is a testament to both of these defenses and honestly both of the offenses.
Yep. I mean, I came out of this game thinking both these teams are really good.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, honestly, if we're being fair, the Eagles got a little. I mean, you make your breaks. They blocked the field goals. That was a breakdown by the Rams, but that's not going to happen every game. So.
No, you can't rely on that to win games consistently. And so, I honestly, I was glad the Eagles faced a little adversity because I think it showed where their problems were.
Yeah.
And now the question is, like, are you going to fix them? Right.
Mm-hmm.
We know what the problems are. These are things that will lose you games if you do not address them.
Right.
So I think it's interesting to see how they will respond, especially against a team in Tampa that has given them a lot of trouble recently.
Just curious, if you put your offensive coordinator hat on, what kind of things would you do differently to get the offense going faster?
Yeah, I think that you need to run a little bit more play action. I think you need to I think you need to also target intermediate routes a little bit more, and I think you need to become a little less one-dimensional.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I think coming out, throwing the ball a little bit you don't have to skew the percentages, but just throw a little earlier so you can get bodies off the line of scrimmage and off Saquon probably would help.
Yeah.
They've done that before too. I mean, I remember the Steelers game that came out throwing last year. I mean, there are times that they figure it out, and then you start to ride your running back who's got less on him, and he breaks big plays.
Hey, you know that one guy in the group chat who hit a 5-leg parlay week 1, and he wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of the season? Sounds like Kaplan, right? Yeah, it could be him. It could be you, and we would all want to be you. MyBookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action, whether it's college ball, NFL, super contest, and survivor pools, all the spreads, player props, and in-game lines that you could want all under one roof. What more could you want than that? If you're new to MyBookie, use our code, THEBIRDS, THEBIRDS, THEBIRDS. Use the code, and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. There is no better time to jump in right now. No better place to play. Football is back. Let's make some money with MyBookie.
Sports are all about competition. Every snap, every possession, every clutch moment matters. That same energy is what 1v1 Me brings to video games. Every single day, you can watch and stake on matchups in Madden, NBA 2K, FC, and Call of Duty Search and Destroy. All the games are streamed live. Every match has refs, and payouts are instant. And these aren't just random online lobbies. These are the best players in the scene, pros, streamers, and rivals. With season playoffs and the championship game on the line, every game matters. Over $100 million has already been paid out on the app, and the community is growing fast. If you're a sports fan, a gamer, or just someone who loves having a little extra on the line, 1v1 Me is where you need to be. It's not just about winning, it's about the bragging rights too. Every match has a chat going crazy, and you can back your picks in real time. Download today and use code BIRDS. Your first stake on the app is risk-free. That's code BIRDS for a risk-free first stake. All right. Speaking of the running back, run success and run stuff rate, not great for the Eagles.
And here's what's interesting, right? We look at their run success. It's at 61.3%.
The Rams, right? Yeah.
Right. And we talked about the negative EPA per rush, right?
Yeah.
It's again, negative 0.03 is almost negligible, by the way. It's almost zero. So I think it's probably skewed by some like really negative running plays. I'm blanking on.
I give you a 2. There was the 3rd and 1 that was stopped by Jordan Davis.
Yeah,
He actually had 2. I'm sorry. The 3rd and 2, he chased Stafford to the sideline. Does that count because that's a Stafford run?
That would count as a rush. I think so.
It would, okay, because it really was
a scramble
pass play, but he scrambled right.
I think it does count in pass.
Right. Well, then they also ran it on 4th and 1 and got stuff there as well. And then there was a 4th and 2 where McVay. Oh no, he kicked the field goal. He should have gone for it. But either way, there were 2 or 3 big 3rd and 4th down plays in the 4th quarter.
If you go for a 4th down and don't get it and a run, it will have a huge effect on your EPA, especially if you're in field goal range, right? Because
they were.
Yeah, so that would probably be like a -4, by the way.
Wow.
EPA, because you're expected to get at least 3, if not more.
Right.
So it'd be anywhere between 3 and 4, probably, depending on where they are on the field.
Right. So this is the equivalent of like a dink and dunk thing where you ran the ball well, 61.3%, but it didn't lead you to enough big plays and points. Like a team that dinks and dunks the ball, but then has to settle for field goals.
Exactly.
Like your completion percentage is great. So your success rate might look good there, but your overall EPA may not be good. So that would make sense. All right, good stuff.
Just trying to put it together the back way.
Yeah. So what do you make of the stacked box and light box percentages?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little disconcerting that I think there was a little bit more you could say about why the running hasn't been as efficient this year because they've been facing stacked boxes, but you look at it, it was 18.5% stacked and 66.7% light.
Right.
And
remind everybody what the difference between light and stacked is, please.
Yeah. So it's just about the number of defenders in the box. I believe it's 8 or more for stacked, and then light is 6 or less.
Right. So that's why these numbers don't equal 100 people, because there's the 7-man box, which is pretty frequent and common as well. That is neither stacked nor light.
Yeah, just the box.
Yeah, just the box. The Rams against the stack. The Rams only saw that surprised me. The Rams only saw a stack box on 13% because they ran the ball so well. In fact, I bet you that number was lower and then skewed by the second half when Vic started bringing more defender. He actually started playing a 5-man line at times, bringing Jahad Campbell down. Sure. But that doesn't necessarily change the numbers. It just changes the Rams' ability to execute multiple double teams, right?
Yeah.
So if they've got 5 and then a tight end to blocks, that's 6, and you put 6 on the line of scrimmage, they can still double team 1, but then they have to leave an unblocked defender,
Yeah, I mean, it changes the hat on a hat analysis for sure.
Right. All right, good stuff. So let's get to the star of the stat sheet. I have a very fun graphic I'm going to put up in a second here. To do a comparison, but AJ Brown's your man.
Yeah. I think it's about time he gets up on this list. Honestly, I really could have went Devonta Smith too. I really could have. But I think just from a more meaningful point, I think to put AJ Brown on here, and the reasons that justify it: 10 targets, 6 receptions, 109 yards, which was 5th in the league for the week.
Right.
18.2 yards per reception, 1 touchdown. He was plus 8% on catch rate over expectation. He was plus 6.3 on EPA. He was 33 yards after catch, plus 27 yards after catch over expectation.
Wow.
Which was 3rd in the league. And 1.4 average separation, which was the 4th lowest in the league.
That's incredible. So without much separation, he still made so much happen after the catch and on the catch.
He willed this game.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's take a look at his route tree, and this is the fun part. All right, you can see the route tree right here, right? Everybody, you can see it. For those who are just listening, on the right side, when he lined up, I mean, he's got at least 1, 2, 3 on the right side, and about 2 or 3 more on the left side that are 10 to 30 yard routes, okay, including a 40-yard route. So he was sent deeper in this game. And just to have some fun, Sam, let's go look at his last week route chart. This is AJ Brown's route tree from week 2 against the Chiefs. Pretty different, huh?
Very different. I mean,
You couldn't get more different.
Yeah. You really don't. And that's honestly, that's what people were asking for, right?
Yep.
I mean, they unleashed AJ Brown, which is what they needed to do. And it's what helped contribute to win the game from an offensive perspective.
Absolutely. Just what a glaring difference.
What a glaring difference.
I had to bring that up. Yeah, I felt like I had to. Now, you said Devontae Smith could also have been one of your guys, your stars of the stat sheet. What number? I mean, I think the catch rate over expectation really jumps out.
Yeah, I mean, but that's Devonta Smith, right? He makes the impossible catches possible. That is that's the bread and butter, right? I mean, his best stat will probably at the end of his career will be that catch rate over expect 100%.
Yeah. Plus
18.8,
by the way, for those listening, plus 18.8 catch rate over expectation and an 8.0 EPA. So this was 5th among all wide receivers in the NFL that week?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he made plays at critical times that put the Eagles in position to score points, which is honestly, there was such a justification to put Devonta Smith here too. I probably could have done a co-star of the stat sheet for both of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, he caught a really nice pass on, and this was really more Jalen Hurts making a great throw and a great progression read. It was a backside deep dig on 3rd and 10, and it went for 16 yards, and the protection was unbelievable. But for Hurts to get him there and Devontae to find that opening in the zone was really good.
Yeah.
All right, some notes on the offense. Go ahead.
After gaining just 33 yards in the first half, their fewest to start a game in over a decade, the Eagles gained 255 yards in the second half and scored 26 unanswered to come back and win the game. This 19-point deficit was the largest comeback since the Miracle at the Meadowlands Part 2.
I was there in the press box. That was incredible. Now, is that the game also where they had fewer or 33 yards in the first half or fewer, or was there a different game?
I am unsure about that. I
didn't know if they were making the connection there.
Yeah, I don't think that so, but don't quote me on that. I got this blurb from Next Gen, which was kind of fun. I love when they do these. I'm always going to throw them in.
Yeah, definitely. So, go ahead.
I was going to say there's a couple other points I have on there, but if you want to talk a little bit about what you were going to say first, it's up to you.
I was actually going to get into that, specifically the no huddle one.
Yeah, in the first half, the Eagles had one no huddle play, but in the second half, they went no huddle on 53.7% of their plays.
Wow, that's a big difference. Now, I don't want to put cart before the horse with this footnote here, because I've heard already people say, well, why didn't they go more no huddle? Why didn't they go more no huddle in the first half? I mean, from a football standpoint, a tactical standpoint, you can't go no huddle if you're constantly behind the sticks. You're not going no huddle on 3rd and 15 so you can hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley and get your punter more space, which they had to do twice, right? They went 3 and out.
All the fans, yeah,
yeah. They're whatever. I would imagine their EPA on first down for the first 2 quarters was awful.
Mm-hmm.
So they were constantly behind the sticks. They were constantly throwing swing passes to Barkley for a yard or 2. They were trying to run. They couldn't go anywhere. So you're not going to get a Saquon Barkley 2-yard run, 2nd and 8, and then go no huddle. It just doesn't make sense. You're not hurting the defense at that point.
And here's the other problem with that, right? We talked about the Eagles' brand of football is that they want to dominate by running the clock and by maintaining possession. It's hard to do that when you're in no huddle.
Right.
So I think having it as a situational weapon is great. Now, should it always be the case? Probably not. But I do think Hurts excels at making adjustments at the line. And I think when they're going to no huddle, he does a pretty good job at, having that time to diagnose the defense a little bit more and making those calls. And I think that's what he's really good at. However, it's antithetical to what we say Eagles football is the formula that they've been trying to do. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is the most fascinating charts of all, the Jalen Hurts spray chart. And for people who are just listening, I'll go ahead and explain. There are, green is for completions, white is for incompletions. There are green dots on this spray chart just peppered everywhere, on the left side, on the right side, even some in the middle, right? An area where we constantly talk about Jalen Hurts not wanting to throw the ball. There are green dots in the middle, and this is what you would say, Sam, is just making use of pretty much the entire field. And really only one deep ball. That's the one of the A.J. Brown that I mentioned, but a lot of intermediary passing in this game.
This spray chart makes me happy. I mean, it shows Jalen Hurts can make any throw anywhere at any time. And it's something that we know he's capable of. We've seen him do, but he really is only going to do it when he needs to, right?
Right.
There's no reason to risk turnovers, and that's elite mindset by Jalen Hurts. And this was a situation where he needed to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it all comes back to his quote, just because we don't doesn't mean we can't. And I think this is the epitome of that situation.
I also think we when we have the conversation about Jalen Hurts throwing in the middle, it's not that he can't or won't. I think the Eagles have done a really good job in the past. They don't do as many RPOs as they used to, but of creating the route concept that will get a guy open, over whether it's a mesh concept or a slant, which is a one-on-one for either AJ or Devontae that you know they're going to win, and the safety is taken out. Like none of these throws, I believe, were real tight window throws. We know that he doesn't like to make those. Most of these were receiver has a step on the coverage or is inside the zone and open there. You know, like the Dallas Goedert one, perfect example. That wasn't really a tight window. It was a beautiful throw and the right throw and the great read. I'm not taking anything away from it, but the Eagles are good at being able to scheme up stuff like that where the read is easy. It's there. The target's there. And Jalen's a very accurate quarterback. I give him a lot of credit on that.
Yeah. And I mean, Hurts completed 7 of his 9 passes over 10 yards in the second half for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Amazing. You attack from the middle and then you open it up a little bit more. A plus 3.3 completion percentage over expectation. I believe he led the NFL in that last year.
He did. Yeah.
Would you remember what the number was overall?
I don't.
Okay. What's typically a good quarterback CPOE?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, having it over anything is pretty
anything positive, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So.
All right. O-line. We're going to get to something special on the O-line too. O-line has not played great this year. They're dealing with some things. We know right tackle Lane Johnson only played what did he play? What's PBS mean again?
Pass blocking.
Pass block snap, right. So he was only out there for 5 before he got hurt. Matt Pryor came in. That did not look good. We know that LandonDickerson's dealing with coming back from his knee surgeries and stuff. And Cam Jurgens with the back. So it just doesn't look like the dominant O-line that it's been.
No, I 100% agree. Honestly, in both running and passing, it's not what we're used to for the
right. Eagles. Anything jump out to you here? I mean, we know people saw the game, but from a data standpoint there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that jumps out is something that we're going to bring up in a minute. I mean, you look at those pressures, 4 of them came from LandonDickerson.
So here it is. This is, first of all, I'm going to give credit to the person, even though you can't see it on the screen, who put this information out. His name is Anthony Reinhardt, at Reinhardt NFL on Twitter, at least, and probably some other social media as well. But Sam, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so you're just going to look at where pressure has been coming from in the past 3 weeks. And there is one really glaring spot, and that is right in front of the left guard.
Yeah, the right defensive tackle pressure rate at 10.9% compared to 4.1% at the other DT spot. And correct me if I'm wrong, like you're expecting to see higher numbers on the edges where you generate, right? So
typically,
for the DT to be at 11% and the edges to be at 14, it shouldn't be that close unless you're facing Aaron Donald he's retired, but you know what? Unless you're facing like every week Jalen Carter or someone of that ilk. So
absolutely,
that is, yeah.
And what's interesting, I also think, is the slot coming from the right defense, the right tackle side, but essentially they've missed a couple corner blitzes. You know, they've happened. I think from the Chiefs.
Yes, I was going to say Spags always throws a ton of slot blitzes and second level blitzes, and then I don't know how there was one sack against the Rams from Quentin Lake, I think it was, and he kind of lines up in the slot, in nickel, in safety, and he got a few pressures from blitzes that way, as did the safety, and it's interesting. They don't have a safety on this chart here, but as did McCullough, who can line up all over their backfield.
My guess for safety, they just included in that linebacker spot, any of those pressures. And honestly, like I said, for corner blitzes, we call them Cobras at Penn State. And they weren't always from the slot, right? Like they're coming from the outside a lot of the times.
Right. Hey, fall is planting season. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when planted this time of the year? But you got to know where to start. And that's why I love fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter if you live in the sunny South or if the air's getting a little chilly where you are, the plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They've got everything your yard needs: fruit trees, privacy trees, shrubs, flowering trees, so much more. And Fast Growing Trees makes it so easy for you to have your dream yard because you can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door. If you're like me, you're tired of spending way too much money on landscaping. And if you walk into one of those nurseries and you look at all the stuff they have, you have no idea where to begin. That's why you need fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter about the size of your yard. They got over 6,000 plants to fit any space, and a 14-point quality checklist ensures you will get the best quality plants possible. This fall, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIRDS at checkout. 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIRDS at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use BIRDS to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out the link below or in the show notes and support the show. Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. So certainly something to look forward this week, Sam, because obviously nobody blitzes from the second level as much as Todd Bowles does. I mean, that's like as he wakes up. People probably tired of me hearing as I say, this guy rolls out of bed thinking of second level blitzes. So they got to watch for that.
No doubt.
All right. Another star of the stat sheet on defense, Jordan Davis. I won't quibble with it because he made huge plays at the end, but run defense, it would not be the case. But certainly, although I guess if you do the whole, it's heavily weighted by situational, like his fourth quarter run stops were fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he had 3 defensive stops, and I think one of them was a scramble, which was the one we talked about. And right. I think the other 2 were in the run game. So, I mean, listen, he made plays when he needed to make plays. Are you shocked it's Jordan Davis? I mean, honestly.
No, not at all. I mean, it wasn't, you had to pick someone who the defense was not the star of the show in this game. So you had to pick one person who kind of came through with some good defense. And that certainly was Davis in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, you add in, I guess you could consider the field goal blocks like defense, even though it's special teams, because it keeps points off the board like a defense is supposed to do.
Absolutely. I mean, it could have been Vaughn too, but
sure.
I think that Jordan Davis's performance, I mean, let's just talk about it really quick, right?
Okay.
He had 23 pass rushes, 1 sack, 3 defensive stops, 1 game-winning field goal block, part of 2 field goal blocks. He was a critical part of this other one, and 1 touchdown. He reached my favorite stat, reached a top speed of 18.59 miles per hour on the return, the fastest of a player over 330 pounds since Next Gen era.
Wow. Well, that makes sense. He ran the fastest 40 for a guy his size, right? At the combine. I mean, that's where the straight line speed finally came and helped him out. We always say, who cares what a defensive lineman can run in straight line speed? It's meaningless. Well, for one play of his career, It was not meaningless. I give you that.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Even though Sam, he should have taken a knee or fallen on it. I mean, listen, I got criticized. I know YouTube commenters came at me for saying that in the postgame show. Nick Sirianni said the same exact thing. That if that ever happened again, he wants Jordan Davis to take a knee.
Sure. I think from the fan perspective, I can see why they were juiced by this play.
Sure.
I mean, listen, they're calling it the Jordan Davis game. Like I've heard people refer to it as which I love, by the way. It's fun. It's how you endear yourself to a city. I mean,
yes.
To be honest with you, it's such a good chapter in his story, right? I mean,
100%.
He came in as a top prospect. He was overweight. He had some issues with effort, with endurance. And you come in, he loses the weight. He does everything he needs to do, and then he has a play to show it off.
Yep.
I understand why people are enamored by him and by this play.
Right.
But I agree with you from a situational football perspective. You guarantee a win by taking a knee.
100%. You're right. When you get a game named after you for a good reason, that's impressive. Obviously the Deshaun Jackson, the Miracle of Meadowlands, everybody thinks about that. People still remember a blocked field goal against the San Diego Chargers in 2005. It was Quentin Michael who blocked it and Matt Ware who scooped it and returned it for a touchdown to win the game. That was forever known as the field goal block game until Jordan Davis. Then you have bad ones, right? The Winston Justice game, Sunday Night Football, Giants, Eagles, and 8 sacks from OCU Manure and Justin Tuck because Trey Thomas didn't play. So it's good that it's the Jordan Davis game for a good reason.
Yeah. And it endears itself to fans, especially in this city.
100%. All right. Eagles D-line advanced stats. Now, Nolan Smith just went on IR, Sam. And that's going to be a little bit of a rough deal for the Eagles for a while until he comes back.
Now, I'm interested. Do we know when Nakobe Dean is supposed to come back?
Well, he's eligible to come back after this game to practice and get into that 21-day window. I have a hard time thinking that he'll be ready in 1 week, coming off the injury that he did, 1 week of practice and he's off and ready to go. And then the problem for the Eagles is A, that game's against the Broncos, tough game. And B, they have a short turnaround for their Thursday night game against the Giants.
Sure.
So if he makes it back for the Giants game, I'd be a little surprised.
Yeah, and you're probably wondering, why are you asking about an off-ball linebacker?
No, I know exactly why you're asking.
Well, I think you move Campbell down. I think you can.
Yeah, I think you can. But he's playing so well at that position. I don't know that you need to. I mean, I think Za'DariusSmith,
sure,
Jalix Hunt, and Josh Uche, and you probably could activate Ojulari now just to give yourself a little more depth. Sure. I think you got to see how that works out first. You can use Campbell in a game situationally that way. No doubt.
That's more of what I was thinking is situational, pass rushing. I mean, he's already done some pass rushing, but just from the edge.
Yeah. What jumped out at you from the D-line's performance against the Rams here from an analytics standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, it's really Za'DariusSmith, right? I mean, that win rate of 33.3% and the get off of 0.94. Honestly, the get off was pretty solid for everyone except really Nolan Smith. I mean, he really won it at 1 second. But I mean, listen, he did pretty well. He got 3 pressures. But I think those Za'DariusSmith wins, I think they're good. If they keep happening, it's going to turn into pressure sooner rather than later.
Right, because his pass rush per pressure rate is not as high as his win rate, right?
Right.
Or it doesn't coincide because it's the lower the number on that is better.
Correct.
Yeah, you got a pass rush. He got a pass rush once every 14 pressures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I do think if he wins at that rate or even close to that rate, right? Like even if it reduces in half, I think it's going to turn into pressures. You just got to be patient with it. So I'm pretty optimistic about Smith. I'm still very optimistic about Uche. And I mean, Hunt was one of the best edge out there. I mean, he had a 20% win rate and he had a pressure every 6.33 snaps. So I mean, you feel pretty solid with what you have as long as you can maintain it or, improve.
Yeah. And I think Za'Darius-Smith is the one who sees the uptick in reps here. But again, with that heat, they may have to rotate a little bit. You may want to either Okoronkwo or Ojulari also active, Patrick Johnson, somebody to give you some snaps there in case you get guys cramping up or just needing to come to the sideline.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's exactly what we're going to see in the next game. I think the chart for our review of next week will be a little bit bigger because there will be more bodies for sure.
All right, and I love that you point out here, elite win rate is 20%. So Jalix Hunt did a really nice job. And then obviously Za'DariusSmith at 33%, very, very good. And I would say Nolan Smith at 16.7, not terrible. It's not like he was.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's right. It's probably in that right before elite category. It's good.
And Uche really did not have it. I mean, he didn't do anything special. He had one hurry on 10 pass rushes. So that was not a particularly good game for him.
But his get off was good.
Right.
So, I mean,
That's
listen,
true.
he's getting there quickly. He's just not winning.
Right. I don't know what that says. Like, does that mean the lineman recovers faster? Who knows? I mean,
it could be a variety of factors that contribute to it for sure.
Got it. All right. And then this is the interior defensive line. Again, this is where I pointed out there was just not a lot of great play on the interior line, especially against the run, but also even in the pass rush. Although I guess Jalen Carter with his one hurry and 2 hits stands out.
Yeah, and his win rate was in that elite category. But his run defense was not pretty great.
Yeah.
And it was not great. I mean, watching the film of it, it's like, all right, you're going to need to figure that out. I'm worried that he's just like, he needs to get in better shape too. Like,
well, listen, you're right. Vic said it. Vic said after he didn't play in the Cowboys game because he got ejected, and then he played in the Chiefs game, and Vic said, he's got to get in better shape. You're 100% right. And he was, what really jumps out, and people can read my story on Philly Voice because I used all 22 clips. He got moved. He got moved by single blocks. He got moved by combo blocks. And in some cases, he got moved way off the ball, which is not something you're expecting to see. You have to at least stalemate double teams and hold your ground so those linebackers can come in and fill the gaps. And a lot of times those linebackers were just already taken out of the play because Carter was moved and the offensive linemen were getting up to the second level.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not going to be better in the heat too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens.
All right.
I think makes you miss Milton Williams a little bit, right?
It does feel like that. I mean, Jordan Davis has played well, but you're right. Not at the level consistently with the pass rush and the run stop that Milton Williams played at last year. So what is you have Davis on a gold line here. The gold line is supposed to symbolize what?
Just because he was the star of the stat sheet, I figured I did it with Lane last week when we were talking about just, from an offensive perspective. So I figured I'd be consistent here and give our star a little credit.
Awesome. I love it. Let's go to the secondary. Really interesting stuff you have because Quinyon Mitchell, again, like week 1, was a shadower on Devontae Adams, who is typically a static receiver, lines up at the X, but Devontae moved around a little bit because the Rams do a lot of motion. And Mitchell did have to I did see a snap or two of Mitchell in the slot against Devontae.
That is interesting. I mean, their game plan, especially with their injuries at corner that they're going to be dealing with, is subject to change, right? I mean, Ja'Cory Bennett going on IR, Adoree Jackson dealing with, I believe it was a knee injury.
Adoree, knee.
But he's not on IR. But look, they're dealing with some injuries in the secondary, so it'll be interesting to see if they will continue to shadow the primary receiver, or if they're going to stick with what they did last year. Especially because Mike Evans is out next week. I don't think Godwin's cleared to come back yet.
He might. He actually might.
Oh, he might. Okay.
We're talking about him being able to play. Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, Emeka Egbuka is going to be trouble. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that situation.
And even though Mitchell shadowed Pickens in the opener, this was the first game, as you note, that he shadowed a receiver on more than 60% of that receiver's routes.
Yeah, he did it for 79.4% of Devontae Adams' route. And he matched up in coverage on 22 routes, allowing just 2 receptions for 12 yards on 5 targets. His only other reception was the 44-yard touchdown against Reed.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Right. And that was really set up by motion that made him the number 2 instead of the number 1, which is what McVay does really well.
Yeah.
So ultimately, as you wrote, 6 targets against Mitchell, 3 receptions, 20 yards, a QPR of 57.6. That's a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did a great job.
All right. And finishing it off, so Zach Bond led the team in coverage EPA, minus 6.9. That's
You
pretty
know where
impressive.
most of that comes from. Most of those points come from is
The
from the interception.
I was I'm gonna point that out. Cooper Dean led the team in tackles with 9, Campbell 8, Bond 7. I will say this stat may be a little bit more misleading because some of those tackles came 5 to 7 yards down the field in run, but still, I think in general. So one thing I did notice is that the Rams funneled a lot of when they did run an occasional outside zone, or even if they ran inside zone but used motion, they ran toward the nickel, which I don't think that they ran toward the nickel thinking DeJean is some weakness because he's good, but you have to pick your poison. Would you rather run toward the nickel or run toward the strong side linebacker and run toward Bond? That's your poison that you have to pick.
Yeah, and I think you choose the smaller body. Not that Coop isn't small at all, but smaller than Bond. So
no, and they got a guy. Well, they have two guys: Whittington, their receiver, 88, and Higbee, 89, their tight end, who I thought did a really good job as blockers. They would go in motion, get their momentum going, and they did good jobs. The Rams run. That's their bread and butter. They do an excellent job of it. But I think their physicality gave the Eagles a little bit more than I expected, because the Eagles have some physical players on defense, but there were some times where guys, not just Carter and Davis, but even in the second level, got moved.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And look, there's stuff that they're going to have to work on for sure.
Absolutely. Sam, another great breakdown as always. Look forward to doing it next week after the Eagles play the Bucks, and we'll get into that when we do.
Sounds good.
All right. So thank you for all your hard work, all the great graphs. And for Sam Finkel, I'm Geoff Mosher. You've been watching Inside the Data on Inside the Birds.